to the Kamado Show. I'm Brandon.
And I'm Coley. We are the brother-sister anime duo. And not in a love you like a brother or sister kind of way, but as in go ask our mom, she's the same person.
This show is an anime lover safe haven catered toward the average anime lover, free from spoilers.
So today's episode, we are going to be talking about the Blue Exorcist Season 3, the second half of the season with the first 3 episodes.
Yep. But before we begin, I want to say this is our 10th episode, so happy 10 episodes.
Woo!
And to do that and to celebrate, I have a little poster. Hopefully you can see it on camera here. I'm going to try to position it so you can see it. A little poster with our logo on it.
That is so awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. Oh man, that is so cool.
Yeah, so this is for us, and I have to workshop this idea or see what you think, but I don't know if maybe it's good we just hold it up on camera and see where it how it looks.
Ask
later
our
on.
audience, where do you guys want us to put it at?
Yeah. Yeah, so anyway, we'll figure that out by the next one.
Yeah, very cool. I love that.
Yeah. Well, and maybe eventually I don't know if we hand them out or give them to people or whatnot, but for starters, we're just kind of gradually making updates and upgrades as we go along.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like first moving into a new house. Like you have no furniture when you first move in, and then eventually, how did you accumulate all this stuff?
Yeah. And just this whole kind of journey so far, kind of we give him the analogy of Luffy and his crew from One Piece. Just them trying to. He basically just kind of feels his way through everything, and hits some bumps along the road. Sometimes things fall into place. He figures out what works and what doesn't. So, like I said, journey so far, 10 episodes in. Does it feel like it's been 10 episodes so far?
It doesn't. It feels like we just kind of... So, I guess in a way, yes, it feels like it's been significantly longer than that. Yeah. But, as far as filming, it's oh man, these went by so fast. Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah. That's what I would say, too. There were some episodes that were pretty rough and some episodes that went buttery smooth. And hopefully the final product that is out there, you can't tell the difference, but that's what I was curious what you think so far. 10 episodes in. I feel like we're kind of in a little bit of a groove now.
Yeah,
we're starting to
I feel like we've gotten our sea legs.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So anyway, today's episode, Blue Exorcist. What do we have first?
So first, they kind of start off with moving up the Exorcist certification exams. So they moved up those dates to only give the X-wires, is what they call our main cast. They only have a couple months to study and get this certification in. I had wondered, okay, well, whose idea was it to move up this certification exam? And from the sounds of it, it sounded like it was Lightning's idea. So, Lightning, for those of you who weren't paying close enough attention, is the Paladin's right-hand guy, the tall, blonde-haired guy with the long hair.
Okay. Yeah, and I wonder if the idea of moving the exams up is just to try to get more people in, because they know just to combat the Illuminati and Lucifer and all that, because were there several of them taken out or killed when they made their appearance and took, what's her name? When they first appeared?
Shura got injured during that fight when they kidnapped Izumo. Izumo's the eyebrows girl.
Izumo, that's
Izumo.
That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah,
I'm terrible with the names in this show.
Yeah,
in case you can't tell,
they're kind of hard. So Shura is the one with the chest.
Yeah, and
to put it respectfully,
and shows her belly button.
But yeah, so Shura got injured during that fight, so she was on bed rest and not supposed to really be doing much. Probably other people got injured during that escapade, and just the huge influx of demons, because they like took down all of the barriers that Mephisto had put up. So like they've had just such an influx in demons that they've had to be fighting
So they need
against.
to beef up their forces, and maybe that means kind of speeding along, streamlining, get some of these students a little further along, possibly, maybe.
Yeah. And that was one of the concerns raised by one of the people in the crowd. Like, is that going to decrease the quality of them? So, but sounds like they've kind of got it figured out. So Lightning is going to be helping teach, which he doesn't seem like he's super excited about.
Yeah, it's interesting. Why was he brought in to do that if he didn't want to do it? And unless it was his idea and they said, well, fine, you do it, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe that was one of the conditions of moving up these exams, that he had to help teach them. But I think it's a good way for the students to see like the potential. So like he's a tamer, which there are a bunch of different kinds of exorcist meisters is what they call them. So there's like the knight, which uses like close range combat, swords, spears, blah, blah, blah. Dragoons, which are like guns and different firearms. The tamer, which is what Lightning is, who controls spirits. And then the aria is chants and verses. And then, of course, a doctor, which everyone knows what a doctor is, hopefully.
Sure. Yeah.
But yeah, so like he's extremely powerful. He's really good at what he does. So I think he's a really good example of the potential a tamer could be. So like Shiemi, who's basically kind of a tamer with her little green demon knee, like she could become super powerful. But so he doesn't use like the super long chants was one thing that I notated. He always would shorten them, so he would kind of start a chant and bone the guy or Suguro with the blonde in the middle.
He was amazed by that. He's like, how are you doing this without reciting the full chant or whatever it is that you have to say to do this stuff?
Yeah, so he would just start the chant and then he's like, and so on, and it would just still work for him.
Yeah, it's almost like Naruto, how I think Madara was like amazed with, or maybe it was
Naruto reference.
Yeah. He was amazed when like someone didn't have to use hand signals to use a jutsu. It's like the equivalent to that.
Oh yeah, it probably is. He's probably got some sort of. I mean, he seems like he's smart enough that he's got it pretty much figured out. Like he just seems to really love, like he loves the industry. He kind of was joking with the students when he was making them clean out his room, like no, I don't have a tragic backstory or something super sad that happened to me. Like I just love what I do.
Yeah, and I wonder if that's true, because I would suspect, just like any anime, there's got to be some kind of backstory, because I feel like you almost always get that for characters like him.
Right, because like in order to even see demons, you have had to have received a tempting, which is like been attacked by a demon of some sort. So even to be in this line of work, like you've had to have some sort of contact with a demon previously.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, so he's really knowledgeable. One of the examples was he uses a lighter, and of course Suguro was like, "Oh, is that a special lighter?" "No, it's just a lighter. These demons, the sylphs, like fire." So it's just cool. Like you can tell that he's been in the game for a while.
Sure. Yeah. Well, anything else on any other thoughts on Lightning?
I think we've pretty much covered it on Lightning.
Okay, so I'm really excited to get into Mephisto.
Oh my gosh, he is such a cool character.
Yeah, just very interesting. I mean, of course, he's openly a demon, so you know, some people ask the question, can we trust him or not? But and at points they're like, well, you're a demon. He's like, I'm openly. Oh, I've never kept that a secret that I'm a demon. King of Time.
Yeah, that is
Right.
so cool that he just has the ability to control time. And I think that's why the Knights of the True Cross like still allow him to be kind of part of their team because it's like, well, we can't beat him, so might as well
Yeah.
try to keep him on our
Well,
side.
what I find is interesting is he has said, I think at some point he said like, well, humans really interest me, and this is why I want to do like pick with humans. And I don't know if he was just, I forget if he was just saying that to someone or if he was kind of doing one of those monologues by himself. But yeah, I'm not really sure. But I think his, it's interesting. I think how they come up with these kind of characters based on kind of a combination of religion and tradition, and in this case from like Jewish and Christianity, the name Samael, which Lucifer calls him, by the way, Mephisto, Samael, Lucifer, Satan, three different people in this. A lot of times in like Jewish Christianity, they're like the same
Yeah.
person, just different names, but they have
Yeah.
different people for this, Satan being the father of them all. But anyway, I just thought it was a little interesting, just like looking back at the, again, kind of the religion and the tradition, like what he was. And like, according to the religion and tradition, Samael, king of all demons, angel of death, or another one, the husband of Lilith, who was, female demon, the arch enemy of the archangel Michael,
Man.
planter of the tree of knowledge.
Oh, that's an interesting one.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
I did not know.
And again, like I said, traditionally used interchangeably with Satan, like the same person, but here he's Satan's son, and he also called Lucifer his brother. So it's kind of interesting how, and anyway,
Yeah.
any thoughts on Mephisto?
No, that's so interesting though that they use like so many different names like for different people, but like in kind of what we're familiar with, like Satan, Lucifer, the devil, they're all like same.
Yeah.
Same.
So, and then again, kind of moving on to Lucifer, again, different character in this show. He's the king of light. So we have the king of time, king of light, and in this case, he's the commander in chief of the Illuminati, who's kind of the main villain or evil force at this point in time.
Yeah, it's interesting to see a demon like kind of in like the white kind of clothing. Like normally demons are kind of reserved for like black and kind of spookier kind of looks too.
Well, a lot of people say, Lucifer, being an angel, he actually is very,
Very beautiful.
like, good looking and like kept his look as an angel. So it's like kind of this, well, is he this red thing with a tail, or is he, so it's kind of interesting, that perspective on it.
Yeah,
And
very
again,
true.
So of course Lucifer would also be a half brother to Rin and Yukio. So it's just very interesting how, kind of
There's
that family
lots
tree
of
there.
siblings in this show, like
Yep.
lots and lots of family.
Yeah.
So I guess with that certification being moved up, who do you think is going to pass the certifications? Like, do you think everyone will pass, or do you think there will be some of the X-Wires who fail?
I don't know, because I feel like this show has been mostly a happy people succeed kind of show.
Yeah.
Will they actually fail any of them? Or maybe only Rin fails and everyone else passes? Again, kind of that Naruto treatment.
They reiterate that like Rin's so dumb, and like Rin himself says that, like, that's not me being mean. Rin says, I'm so dumb, I wish I could solve this, but I'm too stupid to figure this out.
Yeah. I think he has the physical ability to probably pass what he needs to, but
I feel like he might struggle in the book part of the test.
knowledge. So yeah, that's where I'm curious. Well, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be interesting to see if they failed some of them, so it's not just like that stereotypical like everyone's gonna be happy, and like sometimes in real life, even if you work really hard, like you don't always succeed in everything you do. So add a little bit of realism to it, but I don't know if I could specifically pick one person to like fail other than Rin and it be kind of like a political move on the True Cross's part to try to get rid of him. But
okay. Yeah. So we have this thing with Yukio. He's really kind of going downhill. We don't know what's going to happen to him. Is he, obviously we have some kind of hint that he's got some kind of demon blood in him, but he also seems to have a little bit of a dark side that the enemy seems to kind of be exploiting or kind of wanting to hopefully pull him in.
Yeah, he just really seems to not be doing good mentally. He just seems like he's really just starting to lose it a little bit, and he's just playing a very dangerous game here, just testing his limits and
right, with like the training that he's doing and kind of
trying to draw it out.
Putting himself in danger, even like facing the potential of
death.
Yeah.
Man.
Well, thinking, well, maybe the trigger of death is what triggers this power. Maybe it's if I come close to death. Maybe if I think I'm gonna die. Yeah, we're just kind of in this unknown. What were some of the things that he did to try to draw this out again?
So he started off quote unquote tame, as maybe you'd start off. So he started out in an abandoned building to battle demons, and he thought, well, like being in danger, battling demons in an abandoned building where no backup's gonna come, that'll make me scared enough that it's gonna draw out these blue flames. And then he summons his own demons to encase him in water to like try to drown him, and that doesn't do it either. And then
jumping off the bridge or a building or something?
Yeah,
I think
he jumped off a building.
Yeah.
And that seemed to do it. Like he was scared and certain that he was gonna die, but he passed out. So he woke up surrounded by blue flames. So
it makes you wonder what really triggers it then.
Yeah. It's very interesting. Like, it's obviously not something he's conscious of, but I think he's trying to figure out a way to consciously control him, maybe. Okay. But, like, so then he even puts his own gun to his head, and then he's interrupted by the phone call, and that stops him from doing something really terrible. But do you think all of this like spiraling, he'll eventually like fully go to the dark side and become a bad guy?
That's really where I really don't know. 'Cause I feel like that's where things kind of seem to be going, where they're trying to, because he kind of to me, he seemed like kind of the goody two shoes at the start. He's a teacher, like seems to be this perfect sort of son and everything
pet.
From the start. Yeah. So that would be an interesting take if they were to take his character and then he eventually does go that way. So I could see that happening. But again, like I said earlier, this show I feel like is kind of a little bit of a feel good show. So I don't know if they would actually go that far.
It's so interesting that you say it's a feel-good show when, like, so many terrible things have happened, like, with that whole lab arc.
That was dark, but, I mean, no characters died. Did her mom die?
Mom died,
Did she die? Okay. That was dark because they talked about torture and stuff, and which sounds like she had been tortured for years and whatnot.
And, like, they tortured literally thousands and thousands of people. They were capturing all those people. All those zombies were people that they just kidnapped off the street. Like,
yeah, but they were extras. None of the main characters die.
So the message Brandon is telling us is if you're not the main character, your death isn't sad, and
I have no
it doesn't
psychological matter. I have no psychological connection to these zombies.
Oh my gosh, that is
It's like
cold-hearted.
like the Walking Dead. Do you feel bad for people the zombies that get, or the walkers? I'm sorry, that get killed. And
I mean, sorry, I have a soul, and I'm sad if people die.
Yeah.
Like, even if I don't know them, it's still sad.
Well, maybe, perhaps I'm just the a-hole here.
Or maybe that makes me the goody two shoes. Whatever.
Yeah, maybe you have a secret demon lying within you.
Watch out.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like people around him are noticing that he's spiraling and he's just not himself. Going back to Yukio, we're
Right,
saying, like, so the people around him know that something's up with him. Like, Shiemi says something about it. Rin says something about it. Mephisto says something about it, and he lets Yukio know that he's on to him.
Yeah, it's interesting how he pretty much knew. He's like, no trying anything risky or that'll take your life. He's just
Yeah. So he didn't want to say it in front of Rin. It seemed necessarily that he was outright doing these things, but he was like, so long as it's not life threatening. And then of course, like, so he sends Rin and Yukio out to go rescue Shura, or find her at least. I don't know if it's necessarily a rescue mission, but
yeah, because at least he said, you never know, but at least he said she's been gone. We're trying to find her.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I think that's Mephisto's way of trying to keep Yukio safe and like maybe help his mental health because he sees that he's spiraling.
Yeah.
And of course, Rin's trying to be supportive, but Yukio's just so jealous of Rin.
Yeah, he's like push and with Yukio kind of keeping all his loved ones at a arm's distance, it's hard for him to, try to help or understand what he's going through.
Yeah. So we kind of see a little bit of love budding between Rin and Shiemi, and Rin is just like, well, does Shiemi love Yukio? I think he loves her. Do they love each other? And he's just trying to get it out of Yukio, like, how does he feel about Shiemi? And Yukio just wasn't giving him an inch.
Right. And it makes you wonder, does Yukio actually have feelings for her, or is he just kind of keeping them sort of suppressed like a lot of the things he does?
Yeah, that's a good question.
And are we going to have this love triangle between the three of them at some point as well?
Yeah. I honestly wonder if it's just something that Yukio, like, just kind of likes to get under Rin's skin about. So he probably doesn't have a thing for her, but he's like, well, Rin likes her, so, like, I'm just going to mess with him to be a brother and irritate my brother.
But at least Shimi claims that she just thinks of them as friends, but she seemed really shocked when Rin sort of
confessed.
Yeah, so it'd be kind of interesting now that she knows that, if that kind of triggers something in her, like, oh, I never thought about that. Okay, because she just kind of seems so innocent up until this point.
Yeah, I could see that eventually changing over time.
Think so?
Yeah.
Okay.
The hero effect.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that trip to find Shura then.
Yeah, so this is about where we're kind of up to at this point. So again, so that's sort of where we're ending this at, because that's all at this time. That's what's released.
Yeah. So they get sent off to go find Shura. She disappeared into this area because she's supposed to meet up with this guy, Hachitaro, who's like, he seems to be like the leader of snakes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't know what the history is there exactly, other than the little bit we've been given about what he gave would have been Shura's. It would be her grandmother.
I don't know how far it goes back, but
Okay.
it's been at least a few generations. But like, so her like far descendant, however far back her descendant is, like she made a pact with Hachitaro in order to be stronger and to receive a fang, which I guess is like a sword that they all use. They made a pact together that if she was to remain young and beautiful forever, and like have a child by the age of 30, that she could have this power, and like the pact gets passed on to her child. And I guess it's always a girl. I think so. Like
Yeah.
they
What
all
happens if you don't have
inherit her
what happens if you don't?
looks.
What happens if you have a boy?
Yeah, yeah. I wonder how that works
A young and beautiful boy for.
yeah, that would be kind of funny. But I guess it just always somehow works out that it's a girl, or she just has to keep trying until a girl appears.
Sounds like a terrible deal. Like she's getting this power to protect herself or something. But yet you only live for like, you might as well just. I think I would just take my chances and walk instead of taking that deal.
Yeah. Well, I guess she had like the OG like Shura ancestor. She ran away to like go start her own school to train other powerful exorcists or something. I guess maybe ninjas. I think she was maybe a ninja. But she wanted to start her own school, and she's like, in order to do that and to flee from my village, I need to be more powerful.
Okay.
So she made that deal, and so Shura, the current Shura, who just is always hanging out in a bikini, like, she's like, I don't want to have a kid. Like, so we'll see. So she's aware that she'll die by age 30.
So it'll be interesting where they take that. They got to break that pact somehow, I would imagine.
Yeah, and like, what happens if she doesn't have a kid? Because like that was also part of the rules.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. So again, that's at least at the time of this recording. That's as far as what's released. So, kind of toward the end of this episode, final question: what sort of exorcist meister would you be if you could choose and you could do it and you had the talent for it?
Okay, so let's reiterate the options. We've got the knight, the dragoon, the tamer, and the aria.
Okay.
I think the aria is kind of
doctor.
lame. Oh, and the doctor. I think the aria is kind of lame. Like, you just have to chant a bunch of verses
Just
and
memorize the Bible.
hope you don't die in the process. Well, like while demons are swarming around you trying to murder you, you just have to hope for the best that you remember the whole verse correctly. So that one's definitely out. I think I would go tamer. I
Tamer?
think that would be really cool.
Control spirits.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would do. Yeah, I would probably say tamer too, because you just summon spirits, summon demons, and I just think that's so cool. Thinking of like. Almost like, again, I don't know why I keep talking about Naruto in this episode, but almost like kind of like the summoning jutsu or...
Yeah. I was thinking Pokemon trainer, like, go Pikachu,
Okay, okay.
go fight my bad guys for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, cool. But I also do kind of think the knight is pretty cool. Not just because the main character has a sword, just because I like a lot of that close combat. Like,
It
really
keeps things
skillful with the sword.
interesting.
And, you know, I grew up watching Rurouni Kenshin. Perhaps that, you know, inspired me a little bit too. I don't know. But, so yeah. But what about you? What about the viewers out there? What would you want to do? If you could, you know, let us know in the comments.
Tell us why.
At the Kamado Show. Yeah, let us know.
Yeah. We'd like to hear from you.
Yeah, so, and again, this catches us up with everything that's been released up through the end of part 2 of season 3. So again, that's the end at the time of this recording. That's the end of everything that, you know, has been released so far. And speaking of the end, that's all for today's episode of the Kamado Show. I'm Brandon.
And I'm Coley. Thanks for tuning in. Don't be a Kamado. Like and subscribe to our channel for more anime fun with your favorite brother-sister anime duo.
and new episodes come out weekly. So let us know what you'd like us to talk about next, and we will see you next time on The Kamado Show.
And happy 10 episodes!
Happy 10 episodes!